Good morning, everyone. I'm Katja Simmons, Managing Director of Nestlé Professional UK and Ireland. It's a great privilege to be here today, and thank you very much for your time for logging on to today's launch. We have pulled together a packed schedule of insight and advice for the session, all designed to make sure that hopefully you leave today with the valuable ideas and strategies that you can implement straight away. We really wanted to start in this difficult time this year with a very positive note, celebrating and inspiring our sustainability superstars across the industry with a new report, Empowering Sustainability Heroes. We worked together with a footprint intelligence to pull together targeted industry insights, statistics, strategic framework for every role in your business. It doesn't matter where they work. It doesn't matter whatever they do. Hopefully they will find accreditations, tools, organizations that they can refer to, they can work with to make sure that they can work towards reducing their carbon impact every single day for the business and for the planet. I'm personally extremely passionate about this work, hence I'm very proud to be here to present this. I want to be able that in the future I look at my kids' eyes and say that actually their mom was trying to do something valuable every single day to make our future better. And there are many more reasons to be sustainable. They're personal, they're business reasons, but they all are targeted in the same area. We have to make a substantial change across the industry. And if as a result of this work that we're presenting today, every single company will make a change, even one small change, I'm sure it will make a broader impact across the industry that will make a bigger step change for our planet and for our business. So again, thank you very much for being here today. Please download the report. Please share it within the organization. And I do hope that it will inspire and ignite great new ideas. Thank you very much.
Good morning. I'm so thrilled to see you all today. I'm really excited to launch our report. I'm Amy Fetzer, Head of Research and Analysis for Footprint Media Group, and sustainability underpins everything and every job role, and that's something we've always banged on about at Footprint, and we're so excited that everyone else is now banging the same drum. We're massively grateful to Nestlé Professional for enabling us to produce this report, and also to all the amazing people with hospitality and food service, within hospitality and food service, who gave us their time and their insights for the project. Also, I've got to thank Chris Terry, who worked with me on this report and did a tremendous amount of work and has been a superstar. So every person can play their part in making a business more sustainable, but people don't always see the myriad of ways that they can make a difference. So what we've done is we pulled together the key ways that each job role or bucket can make a difference by compiling sort of all the years of insight that we've got from Footprint, from working with the industry really closely for all our different research reports and forums and media and news. And also we did a lot of deep industry engagement and interviews to get some really kind of great case studies and insights and quotes and shared that, and coupled that with desk-based analysis. So we're going to share with you some of the key findings of the report this morning. The report itself is meant to be read section by section, sort of job role by job role, so that people read the roles that apply to them and the roles of those perhaps they want to influence. And obviously some people may wish to read the whole thing to see everything in the round. As such, I'm not going to take you through the whole thing. In fact, everyone's being really mean and they're making me stick to sort of 15-20 minutes, but I'm going to highlight some of the key tidbits to go through to get people thinking, but there's gazillions more detail and recommendations and action points. We're also going to have a fantastic panel once I finish giving you a whistle-stop tour of the report. So we're going to have Nestlé, Compass, Sodexo and Green King on the call, and it's going to be a really great morning. So I'm going to get cracking. So I love this quote from Abby Shaw at Olympia, London. This idea that one person can really make a difference. And actually, pre-pandemic, Abby's work had helped Olympia reduce its food waste by 17%. And actually, in some events, they've even got their food waste to zero. So the way we started the report is there's a lot of sustainability actions that apply to all job roles. So what we do is we go through in each section, we sort of talk about why each job role or why every job role should care, and then some specific recommendations about making that change happen. So giving them a bit of a to-do list, so it, make it as actionable as possible. So the first thing, of course, to highlight, and I know that I'm sure many of you on this YouTube live broadcast are really advanced in your sustainability journey, but sometimes it's really kind of important to remember, this big sea change in everyone's appreciation of our relationship with the planet, with people, and how everybody cares a lot more about playing their part. And there was a great quote from Chris White from Marston's. He said, everyone should care because climate change is going to have direct implications for the way we live our lives and for our children's lives. It will affect how we operate and the goods and services that are available. So there's tons more stats in the report, but just a couple of key ones, that are relevant to us in food service is that food is responsible for 15% of humanity's daily carbon impact. And to meet our 2030 reduction targets, which of course to try and keep us with a stable climate, we need to cut that by at least a fifth. Food uses 70% of the world's fresh water, and 50% of the food grown in this country, in the UK, is at risk of water scarcity. 1 in 6 meals pre-pandemic were eaten outside of the home, but food wasted every year by UK hospitality is also equivalent to 1 in 6 meals, and that totals about 1.3 billion meals, according to WRAP, and it's bonkers. We shouldn't be doing it. Food has this big impact. Let's make sure every bite of it that can be is enjoyed and not wasted. There is still hope. The planet really needs you, but also engaging in sustainability really makes a big impact to people personally and professionally. You can definitely, the Abby short story shows you can make a tangible difference. You can save time and money and waste. And in these, with COVID constantly sucker punching the industry, obviously everybody is always looking for ways to be more efficient and save costs. It really does help protect the business today and tomorrow from every aspect, not just sort of efficiencies and finances, but also from increasing regulation. And also a key point to mention is the ability to recruit and retain staff because of that increase in the citizens around the world, but also very much here in the UK, in really wanting to make a difference and caring about sustainability and wanting businesses to be responsible. That translates into work, and actually loads of people have been telling me even this last couple of weeks and some other research we're doing for some new projects about how that is such a key recruitment tool. Providing great food is obviously what food service and hospitality is all about. So incorporating sustainability into those plates and making sure none of it is wasted is what we all live for. So that is and finding ways to meet these new trends around flexitarian, vegetarianism, people wanting lower impact dishes. It's brilliant. And of course, all of this, in whatever part of food service you're working in, it allows you to unleash your creativity and think of new ways of logistics, energy generation, saving energy, creating dishes. So it's win. As I want to say, sustainability is always win, win, win. There's loads of benefits. So whistling through the various different advice for the different job roles, as I said, we created a section at the start, which is called Action for All Heroes. So first, I wanted to sort of say the really key thing is getting that sustainability mindset, linking, that link between yourself and the bigger problem. If, what Abby did at Olympia, she thought if I save, I'm reading headlines about food shortages, wildfires, climate change, but actually if I save food in my workplace and inspire those around me and become part of, because she didn't do it on her own, she was, part of a chain reaction where loads of people got involved, loads of people worked really hard. We are making a tangible impact, that made a tangible impact on things like food shortages, on things like tackling the climate crisis because of that carbon in the food. So question everything. Why are we doing it this way? Are we reusing resources wisely? Does it make sense financially? Why is this an acceptable loss? Can we change it? And as I said, one thing that comes through every single job role is this food waste piece. So you really can just, and there's loads more other advice, but there was a great quote as well from Claire Atkins Morris at Sodexo, who said, if you just have one person owning sustainability, nothing happens. When people work together, amazing things happen. So, that really, you can be that catalyst for change and actually personally make quite a big difference. When we look at the CEO, CFO and senior leaders, obviously there is many things I could have pulled out, but I just felt the beginning of 2022 with COP behind us, committing to net zero, if you're not doing it, you're basically falling behind. And these, ESG and being able to demonstrate your business's commitment to sustainability and to being net zero are necessities for business. Those who fail to do so, a report by KPMG noted at the end of 2021, lose customers, employees and financing. This same report concluded that customers, employees, shareholders, lenders, rating agencies and regulators are demanding companies know how their business impacts the world, their contribution to society and how they conduct themselves. So, this is really key. And we also had so many people throughout the research and through our engagement with the industry talking about how customers really care and it really gives you an edge. And there's a great quote from Julian Hunt from Coca-Cola talking about that as well. I touched briefly there on the funding. There was a quote from Chris White at Marsden saying, he had noticed a 4 to 5-fold increase in the information that their investors were, all the questions that they were being asked, the DSG data requests that people are being asked. If you haven't got credible, reliable data and you can't talk about where you're going, it is going to affect your ability to get that investment. And to continue in the marketplace. It's in every conversation. And part of this, of course, is clear communication of that targets and how you found out, and also combining financial and non-financial reporting together, because it's really important that these things are viewed in the round. Moving on to procurement, that is, this underpins so much of, procurement, underpins so many other job roles within food service and hospitality. But really, sustainability must join cost, quality and capacity to deliver as one of those central procurement pillars. And there are loads of ways to help you. There's the ISO 2400 sustainable procurement, which guides industry through sustainable procurement. There's also a kind of nifty tool called BSI Verified Directory, which gives you visibility of your supply chain. There are, what tends to happen when people start looking into their supply chain, there are black holes. So, do you know what you don't know? How do you know you are addressing potential issues if you don't know about them? So it's really important to identify these black holes and to find out how you can address them. Alongside this, it's really important. There's, often that situation where the person who has the capital expenditure isn't the same person who pays for the running costs, and therefore it's really hard to justify paying for a more efficient machine or a more, reliable machine because that person doesn't pay for the maintenance or the energy use. We need to get everyone's, coming together to look at these issues, and also bringing in outsiders to help us make the best decisions. So really smash through the silos inside and out of the company. Marketing, I think marketing is key to all of this. I'm really, really excited by what marketing can do. Marketers are amazing at persuading us to want things we didn't know we wanted and to influencing our choices. We need to harness this for sustainability. We need them to sell sustainability and why sustainability. So just tell us, this beautiful future that we're all going to have by engaging. That it's not a scary future. We're not taking things away. This is a positive future and a great outcome. And then helping us, to sell those sustainable options by wrapping them up into meal deals, by using all those marketing tricks to make those really desirable, using the right descriptors to make those, to turn that veggie burrito into a bestseller by adding an extra descriptor. And we just need to make, and also encourage the action so that when the consumer has that packaging, they know what to do with it. So please, marketing has a key role here in influencing consumers towards sustainable choices and behaviours. And I was actually talking, and one of the things I was talking to Mike Hansen earlier this week, and he was talking about how, his consumers are so engaged in all these provenance stories and the sustainability stories, but often it's very hard in cluttered environments to just tell people all that stuff. So they're going to add some QR, Baxter Stories are going to add some QR codes to some of their products so people can find out more about them. And, you know, there's so many tricks now that we can do more communicating. HR learning and development. I've got a ton of stats here. I'm not going to read every single one out, but, you know, 77% of organizations say sustainability strategy has had a positive impact on employee engagement and retention. 40% higher levels of workforce retention at purpose-driven companies. Around a quarter of British workers would take a pay cut to work for a responsible business or would quit their job for a more responsible firm. Half of age 23 to 28 would quit their job for a more responsible firm. And 88% of millennials said their job is more fulfilling when employees provide opportunities to make a positive impact across every spectrum. It really helps. And right now, God, there is such a recruitment squeeze, isn't there? So let's really focus on using sustainability. You know, HR is such a sort of unsung superhero, in my opinion, here, because they can detail activity about the detail about the company's commitments and activity and job descriptions. They can highlight how potential employees are going to help contribute to that, so they can really feel that I'm going to get to make a difference by working at this company. They can include sustainability responsibilities into job descriptions, into KPIs. They can appoint champions and ensure everybody has the training they need to understand about how sustainability relates and what they need to do. Health and safety is another one where actually, you know, the crossover between health and safety and sustainability is massive, in particular because social sustainability is basically managing impacts on people, whether they're your own teams or your customers or your communities. So one of the big things, of course, that's come out of the pandemic is this sort of science or separate pandemic of mental health. It's great that there's more awareness in this area, but it's clearly ongoing. And we need to continue to look out for people. So for health and safety, that's a really key issue. There's also some really great, you know, work that can be done to revisit what's possible about saving food, because some of the labelling guidance has changes and use by dates. And so that's another key area that health and safety can make a massive impact. Another really interesting area is checking for conscious bias in the working environment. So often counter heights, you know, grip sizes, you know, PPE or uniforms can be set for a, you know, a male build or a female build, a standard, you know, male build, and that just makes them very uncomfortable or inaccessible to a large proportion of the workforce. So making sure that we're very cognizant of these issues and finding ways to tackle them. IT, this is another one that, you know, I mean, honestly, it was so funny going through, because every single job description I would come to, people would go, yes, that is the key one. That is the key one. So, you know, this is data, you know, this the mantra from RAP about target, measure, act. It's absolutely key. And IT holds the key to, you know, providing reliable, up-to-date data and collating that and making it manageable for us. However, we must also be very aware that IT has a big digital footprint. In fact, some recent research indicates it's about the same as aviation. So, you know, making sure that we're very careful about how we deploy IT and use it wisely, but also looking at when we're getting new digital systems, you know, can we upgrade existing systems? Do we need as much imagery, as much motion? And what are the things that are really draining or taking that energy, making sure that we design them with energy efficiency in mind. And also, you know, behind the scenes, using green data centers, web servers, all of this kind of stuff. There's a lot of important conversations to be had. Also looking at old equipment and recycling old, kitchen equipment, but also IT. And, you know, just using the whole sort of power of technology to make life easier and find myriad efficiencies. But also there's then the whole exciting area of kind of innovation and new, the whole food service and hospitality market has dramatically changed with all the, you know, pre-ordered, ordering, all of this amazing stuff. And my favorite thing that I keep banging on about, and I really want someone to take and run with, is this idea that actually all these delivery apps can actually tell people, consumers, you know, by their postcode, what they should be doing with the packaging that's come with their takeaway, because you can actually, you know that they're in this council and this kind of packaging goes in this bit of your bin. So that's IT, and then the second to last is facilities management and restaurant design. So amazingly, 63% of the electricity consumption of public houses and restaurants is from catering. So, we really need to be looking at, making sure we reduce this. So easy one is, of course, for these guys to be committing to green and utility suppliers. Loads of people such as Sodexo and Starbucks have signed up to RE100, which is a commitment to source renewable energy. And we've got to make sure, those meters are in place, that they're working correctly, that we're getting appropriate readings often enough, and then also we've got to it's also water's a massive issue which is going to explode soon. It's 1 to 2% of a UK based company's turnover, and easy fixes can save between a third and a half of those costs. Lastly, the catering team. So one of the key things that we need to do is, there's 100 million ways that the catering team play such a massive part of saving the planet, but one of the key things for the catering team to do is make sure that environmental, social and governance issues are included in those weekly meetings. We need to be looking at the menus and making the plates of food, the dishes served, as sustainable as possible, so looking at plant-based and impacts. And I just thought I'd share with you this great little slide it's a National Trust did some research on 2 of their dishes in one of their sites, and they found this was the difference. The beef chili was sort of 10 times, hang on, I'm not getting my maths right. Anyway, it's too early in the morning for that. But the point is, it's dramatically different. So we can make a massive impact here as well. So I have done a whistle-stop tour. I've gone over a couple of minutes. I do apologise. But we now have the most awesome panel for you. So I'm just going to really quickly just introduce all the guys on the panel. And we have got the wonderful Emma Keller. She is Head of Sustainability at Nestlé. We've got Michael Hickman, MBE. He's the Food Service Director for Compass Group UK and Ireland. We have Sophie Whitfield, the CR Development Manager for Sodexo UK and Ireland, and Vance Fairman-Smith, Supply Chain and GNFR from Green King. So we have absolutely got everything, all these great industry heads here. Now, I think if we've also got questions coming in from the live YouTube channel, so I'll be chucking some of those questions into the mix as well. But I thought what might be really nice is if we started and maybe everybody could go around and just tell me, what they think. So one of the great things, as I said, is that people are beginning to realise that this job role or that job role that people didn't typically or traditionally think of as having a big impact on sustainability. Maybe they could give us a little idea that they have around a job role and how they can impact on sustainability. Mick, did you want to kick off, please?
Yeah, thank you, Amy. I think my reflection, excuse me, my reflection of job roles is that the research has already identified all of the key areas, but for me, it's more holistic than that. The word everyone keeps coming back into my mind. We can have our leaders giving their strategic intent, which is important. Then we have the enablers, and many of the enablers have been mentioned in the report that will give us the tools. But without getting the entire workforce on board with this, the chances of us delivering are really, really slim. So, we look at it through our lens. We've made a net zero commitment by 2030. We've got no hope of delivering that unless we get the 40,000 people that work for us on board with that. So everybody, every role in the business has something to do in helping us deliver. And go back to the old NASA saying around the person working in the toilet, and what do you do? Well, I help put a man on the moon. Everybody from our cleaners, from our kitchen porters to our facilities managers, everybody has a role to play, and therefore it's important that businesses engage with their teams, give them the tools, give them the vision and direction. And as you've said in the research, a lot of our workforce are already interested in this already from a personal perspective. So that's, for me, it's not the key role, it's all roles.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Mick. And Sophie, I know that you've been doing a lot of work with on food waste and Waste Watch. Maybe it might be interesting to hear kind of how that's being rolled out through the company and what impact that's having on different roles within the business?
Yeah, definitely. So with our Waste Watch food prevention programme, we've noticed that obviously we can't do this without our frontline employees who work in the kitchens every day, recording that food waste, making the reductions, following the prevention plans, and all that leads up into like meal planning and everything else. But we have champions at each of the sites. We expect the managers to kind of know why we're doing it and the bigger picture around it. So we really try to take a full global view as well as a kind of individual view. And we've seen sites take on the responsibilities and really just enjoy it and run with it, and it's really see that they're making a difference. So we have sites that have set up like WhatsApp groups, competitions between their different kitchens. They're doing things like using the eggshells as fertilizer in the gardens, and just loads of really innovative stuff that we can then share as best practice across the region, and is really helping us make a difference. And we're at almost a 50% reduction in food waste at those sites that we have rolled out to. So we really see the sites engaging, and without those individuals doing that and without the proper run plans and everything like that and everybody playing their part, we really wouldn't be able to achieve the reduction that we have. So I think that project is a real example of how everybody can play their individual role to the common goal and the success of the reduction.
And Emma, I know there was a great example which we included in the report about the podback scheme, about how some of your team really wanted to tackle some of the packaging issues. Do you want to maybe talk us through that?
Absolutely, and well done, Amy, on whistling through quite a huge amount of insights there, and congrats to you and the team for such a fantastic report. I think Mick said it and Sophie's emphasised it, absolutely this is about everyone's job. And I think one of the lovely examples we've seen in our business is some of our marketing teams actually seeing, look, we have a challenge here, we're putting out huge amounts of plastic onto the market so that we can deliver great tasting coffees that people can enjoy at home. But this is a challenge, our consumers are asking us, what do they do with this packaging at the end of the life? And so it was a shared challenge, but not one just that we were facing, that actually some of our biggest competitors were facing. So we were in a great position. In April last year, we launched a scheme called Podback, which is all about recovering those coffee pods from our consumers and at the same time recovering that spent coffee grounds. And by working with our biggest competitor on the market, to look at whatever pods are out there, we can get those materials back, put them back into the circular economy, give them a new life. And we're doing that both for the packaging, the plastic packaging they come in, but also we're looking at how do we upcycle and reuse those spent coffee grounds and turn them into new and exciting projects. So again, a fantastic spot by some colleagues who know their product really well, who are hearing what their consumers are saying and came up with a joint solution with a big competitor.
Brilliant. And Vance, what about, I know that you've done some great work, especially you utilise some of the time during some of the lockdowns to really look at procurement and pack sizing and how that was having an impact on waste. Do you want to sort of talk us through how the teams and which elements of which teams kind of came together to sort of address that issue and find some solutions?
Yeah, certainly. I think, you know, just on the initial point that everyone can make a change. I remember starting on this journey, I think I said to you the other day, Amy, with Charlie in 2007 over a beer in London going, I've got these great ideas about recycling, and then going out to roll it out with pubs and some of the interesting feedback we got. But we can see the sea of change now, and that's a really good thing, and especially out of COP and everything on TV. And I think the work we're doing around pack size is what, you know, I use the quote, we got a bit lazy in supply chain. It was one size fits all for all brands. And the empowerment was when we started to go out and talk to the kitchen teams and within the supply chain and the menu design, we got great feedback about not only the pack sizes, i.e. being too big, too small, but also the packaging, you know, and we've had some great success stories on the back of what Emma said. You know, we finally cracked recycling mushroom trays, for example, closed loop. We're now looking at chemicals, closed loop. We've removed 200,000 cardboard boxes out of the supply chain. And I think, you know, the point for me is it's an ongoing battle, though. You know, marketing and menu design, you can't, you know, as the next menu cycle starts, we've got to keep on it and on it. you know, and we've noticed that coming out of the pandemic, we've got to get into this routine of engaging all the teams that you mentioned. They all play a key role, but it isn't their day job, you know, and we've got to help them make it part of their day job, that, you know, and that they can all play a massive part. So I think for me, Amy, yeah, we're making great progress, but still a lot to do.
And on that point of making it everyone's job and training them, I know that Sophie, that Sodexo have committed to making sustainability training mandatory for everybody, so everyone kind of understands the key issues and also what the company's doing. So how easy has that been? I mean, for HR to kind of develop the training, and to, I know that in the kitchen environment, you know, every second counts for that key staff member, you know, that, so getting them to, you know, getting everyone on board to sign off the time and investment to create these resources, and then for everyone to actually take them, and with new staff coming through, often, you know, maybe, I don't know, it's maybe not such high turnover in contract catering, but in some catering environments it's quite a high turnover, isn't there? So kind of how has HR overcome these challenges to kind of to make it happen and get that sustainability training to everyone?
Yeah, so we have a commitment to train 100% of our employees in sustainable practices. So obviously that is not an easy feat, and it's something that is, you know, it's challenging. It's something that we're always on a journey with, but globally we see corporate responsibility, sustainability as really our key differentiator, and one of our pillars of growth as well. So we know that by training people in sustainable practices, you know, as you've kind of gone through in your report, it's only going to have a positive impact on our people, on the financial picture, on individuals when they also go home, because that is a big thing. You know, our employees are not just employees, they're citizens. So if we look at something like food waste, if we can train them up and get them in better practices in the workplace, then when they go home, they're not going to be wasting as much food, they're going to be saving more money for their families, and it's all that knock-on impact. So we've developed training programs kind of globally with Sodexo in the environment that all gets loaded up onto kind of our training portal. And then we also have new training that coming up. So as we've just released our net zero roadmap, we're developing new modules, and there's a definite focus from the whole business on sustainability. And we know that you know, there's so much more that we can do, but we know that we're moving in the right direction as to getting these people to understand. And I think a lot of people in our business already do a lot, and they're already looking at these initiatives to reduce waste, to save money in certain places. And all we need to do really is make the link with them and say, actually, well, what you're doing is sustainability, and these are the bigger impacts that your actions will also have. So we've seen loads of like retail managers, individual people making a difference, and we know that that's because we make sustainability important throughout the business, and it's part of our conversation, and we just have a lot more to do, but we're on the right journey, I think, to getting there, and training those people.
And Emma, I know that you at Nestlé have included sustainability-related KPI for some of your senior leaders. You know, how is that going down? Is you know, and what how can those barriers of, you know, really incorporating sustainability into people's targets, and can you see a time when everybody's got it in their KPIs?
Absolutely, that's the direction of travel we would love to go in. And this is definitely something that we're working on. It's new, but I guess we're all really familiar with our senior leaders having accountability for key business performance metrics, whether that's financial performance, investor relations, customer satisfaction, the number of new product launches, whatever it might be. So if we're really serious about sustainability, we need to have that same accountability in our senior leaders' goals. So it really drives that ownership. It means that these targets get discussed in senior level one-to-ones. It means it gets discussed at board level. So it's really about putting that on the agenda. So definitely a work in progress for us, but we're looking at how, if we're really going to meet our carbon reduction commitments, it needs to be embedded in people's development plans so that we can hold ourselves accountable and then drive that change throughout the wider business. So watch this space.
Yeah, great, thank you. And Mick, what's your view about, you know, this whole the kind of the drive to have carbon targets, but you know, the food services is in such a tight spot at the moment with COVID constantly sucker punching, you know, us, making it so hard to plan. So how can we persuade the finance team to prioritize expensive things such as footprinting and strategic decisions when people in some instances might just be struggling to keep their heads above water?
That's a good question, Amy. And I think you've got to, if you're taking this seriously, you've got to compartmentalize. COVID, yes, it's here and now, and we've got to deal with the here and now, but we've got to have the long-term vision. And this is sustainability and the environment. I think this is the perfect example of spending to save. If you don't invest upfront, you're not going to be able to deliver. And that's in all areas. You know, that it's, you know, Sophie mentioned the training. You know, training is an investment, and we've got to do that. The right tools is an investment, and you've got to do that. Being able to measure and get the right measurement tools, you've got to invest to do that. But more importantly, you know, there's all the work we can do within our internal environment. It's our external environment is more important, and that's with our supply chain. We all know in our world, in the food service world, the bulk of our scope 3 emissions are in our supply chain. So we've got to work with our suppliers and help them and help invest in them. So we've pulled together a seed fund where we can help work with some of our suppliers. We have set some targets with some of our suppliers, and yes, there's going to be a cost to all of it, but it's spending to save, because I think somebody mentioned earlier on, you know, this is not far off a price of entry now for some of our clients. You know, if you want to grow as a business, you know, our clients are going to expect us to be doing this. I look back to when I joined Compass Group. The first 20 pages of any bid was based around health and safety. We don't write about health and safety in our bids now, because we're expected to deliver health and safety as a given. We're now, the focus is now on other things, be it health and well-being, and now sustainability. And clients are looking for us. Clients are looking for us to support them on their own net zero journeys, because we contribute so much to their scope 3 emissions. So we have got to invest to grow, and investment in sustainability and environment is key to that growth. So I think our financiers get it.
Yeah, brilliant. That's amazing. It's such a sea change, isn't it? And Vance, from your perspective, from a high street perspective at Green King, you know, everyone is continually talking about the pressure for consumers. You know, that UN stat that 2/3 of people, you know, are really worried about the climate emergency and want direct action. You know, how are you finding that pressure is manifesting itself for yourselves, and kind of what are the different people within the business having to do to kind of respond to it and meet the customer desire for, you know, for Green King to demonstrate that it's a responsible business?
What we have done is we've started to collect customer feedback now, and it's interesting, the vast majority of customers are interested, even though they're going to the pub for an event and a night out. When we ask them the questions, are you interested in sustainability and what we're, you know, and are Green King a reputable business? It's, you know, most people are saying, yes, we are interested. I think, you know, to take Mike's point, innovation is key and investment. Out of COVID pandemic, one of the upsides of a high utility and wage and cost base is a lot of innovations that we've looked at in the past have been hard to get over the business case. Now, in a difficult situation, a lot of them now, people are asking us for more innovation. How can we drive costs down? So you can tell the sea change in operations. I think supply chain is a big one. We need to invest and flex our supply chain, both secondary and primary. We need more clarity from the government, because, you know, electric vehicles aren't going to work for us, you know, so it's got to be hydrogen, then it's infrastructure. So I think, you know, there is so much going on, as we know, and I think it's, you know, we keep talking within our team on what's in our own gift? What can we do ourselves, whether it be process, operations, investment? Then to take Mike's point, what do we need to work with industry, whether it's our peer group, whether it's collaboration, whether it's, going out and, pinching ideas, not always a bad thing, seeing what the retailers, etc. up to. And then thirdly, just watching policy and government, because, we've seen the DRS scheme in Scotland, kick, start, then not start, and how we can support legislation. So I think, right across our supply chain, from guest up to supplier, it's a constant moving feast that we've just got to, and I think, in the last 2 years or 3 years, there's been a massive, as we've said, a positive sea change. So I think it's good. It's just, you can get lost in it. You can become overwhelmed with, especially scope 3, as we all sit there going, oh my goodness. But yeah, there is stuff that is going in the right direction. It's just making sure that, as leaders, we all do our bit.
So, obviously that's really useful to know from a Greenkin perspective. I know that Emma at Nestlé, I know you've done a lot of work on sort of more plant-based offerings and really building that up. And same with Sophie. I know you and Mick have done a lot of work around, health and nutrition, including more plants. There's lots of. So how can we kind of, what's the sort of dialogue that's going on about, responding to that consumer need and helping that journey? Because as you say, it's got to be everybody within the business doing what they can and changing the ingredients and the mix of ingredients on the plate and moving towards ones that have a lighter footprint on the planet is something that we can do today. So maybe Emma, if you start, and then Mick, and then Sophie, and you will kind of say something along that point.
Yeah, I just wanted to pick up on a point both Mick and Vance have made about the investment. And of course, it's always tricky to get new budgets for things signed off. But if we look at most of our businesses, we all have to be investing in R&D, research and development and innovation if we want to stay relevant to the consumers of the future, these millennials, these Generation Z that are going to be our future customers and also our future employees. So, and at the same time, if we don't invest in sustainability, we're also not going to be relevant. So it's really important that we see investment in environment performance, investment in sustainability as the way of maintaining our business for the future. So I think that's really key. And of course, a big part of that is plant-based. The plant-based movement is here, it's on the way, it's absolutely huge. In the UK, we know already the meat substitute market is worth nearly 600 million, making it one of the largest in Europe, and that's set to continue to grow with potentially double-digit growth. So it's here, consumers want it, they're demanding it. Part of our role is to provide that choice and that option and move away from old-fashioned, or there's one vegan or vegetarian dish on the menu, but make it really exciting and show that actually taking steps, whether you're driven by your health or by sustainability, you don't have to sacrifice. It can be just as good and just as delicious. So at Nestlé, we've put a huge amount of work into launching our Garden Gourmet range, which is our plant-based alternatives to things like burgers and sausages and chicken pieces, etc., but also plant-based alternatives to dairy. So our new plant-based milk called Wonder. And none of these products are about demonizing or saying animal products are bad. It's just about giving that choice so that everybody can start to potentially eat less and eat better in both areas. So really exciting, lots of growth in this space. I think we all need to be ready and turning onto it.
And Mick, I mean, there's all these new products, but chefs obviously have been taught historically to cook in a certain way. So how, I know that Compass is extremely supportive and always been very passionate about health and sustainability, and something that you've worked on, with the nutritional content of your menus for a long time. But how are you, getting chefs to get to take those that step towards more plant-based and getting the skills they need and getting them excited about the new opportunities and unleashing that creativity?
Yeah, I think Emma makes a good point that the plant-based movement has been with us. It's been with us for a number of years now, as we all know, and we're in business to serve customers, and our customers have been asking for this for some time now. There's been a grow, and as all the marketing stats are there now, but we were starting to get that in the business years ago, and we were moving that way. And you're absolutely right. There's a fundamental link between sustainable diets and menus and health diets. And yes, we always had healthy eating criteria for all of our menu and recipe developers and for our chefs. And all we've done now is, working with our environment team, we've created a healthy and sustainable menu and recipe criteria, which we've rolled out. And we are engaging with our chef community, and you know, we've got great chefs. We've all got great chefs, and they want to innovate. They want to create food that the customers want to eat, and there's no different to Plan Forward. I think there's many that would prefer us to make our own Plan Forward. I think there is great products on the market that, you know, and the work that Nestlé have done with that is fantastic. But unfortunately, there are some other products on the market that, you know, when you look at the health criteria of it, you know, we wouldn't put it on. We just wouldn't put it on because, you know, you're not delivering what our customer wants, and that's both the sustainable and the health. And we've engaged our senior culinary leaders. We've worked with Marcus Waring on a sort of level 4, level 5 culinary course that's mainly the add-ons are all around environment and healthy and sustainable cooking and driving Plan Forward. And then we are working that out through our culinary teams. And our focus really is going away from calling it vegetarian. You know, this is about serving quality food and good tasting food. And there's a little bit around marketing and positioning. Where do you place your food on the counter? Is, you know, the old days of the vegetarian being on the back of the hot plate, or ask the chef if you want a vegetarian meal. This is now going to be front and center on the menu and on the counter, and the descriptor has got to describe an experience that the consumer wants to have, regardless of what's in it.
And then there's some great tips and resources, aren't there, Mick? We did a report with you called Design with Health in Mind, which talked about all of that psychology and nudges and how we could they could be harnessed to encourage consumers to make healthier, more sustainable choices. Sophie, did you have anything to add on the kind of how we can get chefs and menu designers kind of trained up in using these new ingredients and excited about getting, you know, being part of that plant-based revolution?
Yeah, I think I'd just echo really what's already been said. I think, you know, there's definitely a plant-based movement, and we've been working for quite a few years with our partners at WWF on kind of creating exciting, sustainable, plant-based food and getting like our young people in the universities and things like that excited about it and making pledges towards changing their diets. And I think there's a quote in the report from Claire, our Director of Corporate Responsibility, where, you know, we're not saying that diet should be completely plant-based, but what we're saying is let's start integrating more of the plant-based food into the plate, as you mentioned earlier. And then we are working on that carbon reduction. And, you know, it's every meal. So if people want to do meat-free Mondays or just make smaller changes, every little bit helps. And I think also, as Mick said, with sort of training and chef development, we have been working with some of our apprenticeship suppliers that deliver our apprenticeships, and they're actually doing their training. And a lot of the new kind of chefs that are coming on board, there's a massive focus on plant-based food. So when we've run some events recently where the menus have been completely plant-based, and our apprentices are really excited by that and getting the new kind of experience. So we are really seeing a growth and a change. It's no longer kind of a fear of cooking vegan or vegetarian food. We're seeing the trends kind of shift into chefs becoming more excited about that and using like the Future 50 foods and things like that. But then I finally would just want to echo Mick's comment that, you know, as we step into sustainability, there's always implications and things that you come across and you're like, oh, wow, I didn't realize that was going to pose a problem. And I think with some meat replacements, they're not always the best nutritionally. So it's that finding that balance between what we can serve responsibly with health and well-being in mind, but then also looking at things that are more sustainable. And we've started using things like carbon labeling to show the customers and consumers the difference and what it is that they're eating, and it just are those prompts to make them think about it and think about their own diets.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much, Sophie. Vance, I wondered, when we were doing the research for the report, you were, as everybody did, talked about, how every single person, and Mick, I think, said at the beginning, the kitchen porter, makes a big difference. Everybody really has an impact. I mean, have you got any kind of insights to share on how, those key members of the kitchen team who might think, I'm just a porter, this is just a functional job, that actually they can make a valuable contribution, and how they can feel really empowered and recognised?
Yeah, so I think I mentioned we've done a lot of food waste audits in recent months with our food waste recycler, and we've had some really good reports back where there's kitchen teams, and the conversation has gone on to how they can help biodiversity in the gardens, because we can use our gardens better, we can recycle, we can use fertilizer. I think it was mentioned earlier about eggshells, and I think the generation of the people we're employing now, what we tried to do years ago is just the norm now. It is the norm, and they want to do it. What we need to do is be able to let them do it and invest. So I think I've mentioned on previous calls, we did a lot about kitchen layouts to make recycling easy, to make food waste, easier, easy ways of capturing feedback. So a bit like I think Sophie said, as part of the training program now, we've created a portal where we get feedback on any sustainability ideas or challenges. There's loads of heroes out there. There is literally loads of heroes out there. It's just capturing the voice.
And also, it's that lovely. I think many of you said when I spoke to you through the research, how that the key to the door, the boardroom door is open now. If people are seeing that food waste, you have created that channel for senior management. It doesn't matter if you've got gazillions of sites across the country. You have got that way to directly to tell management. I'm noticing that this bit of this coleslaw is always in the food waste, or this machine is broken and our system for logging maintenance errors or whatever isn't happening quickly enough. So I think that's what's really exciting, is that every single person can make actually a substantial change and difference. Mick, I wondered if you wanted to have if you had any thoughts about some of the creative ideas that are coming out. So where people are looking at I was going to, well, I mean, you're in client sites, but, do you find that people are becoming more open to work with you together on those investments on capital equipment, such as cooking equipment, and installing meters, and enabling you to work more with them directly on challenging on those kind of impacts that they typically have been quite kept close to themselves before?
Yeah, I think the world that both ourselves and Sodexo and our other competitors, the world we work in is a challenge, because in 90% of we work in a client site. We don't own the site, and they provide a lot of the heavy equipment. In some places we do. Where we can provide, we are there. We're already on that journey. Some clients are more proactive than others. Some clients really are on top of their own building and want to drive change. Some clients, we work with them together, where we can have a joint investment and with deliverables that benefit us both. And in some areas, and it's not in our control, and sometimes it's not in our day-to-day clients' control, particularly in the public sector, when you work on the MOD estate, for example, an MOD estate that's really, really aged, very difficult to make changes there. But wherever we can, we do. And I think it's working with the clients, and we've got, as I said, more proactive clients than others, but a lot of our big clients want us to work together. It's in collaboration, and it's not you've got to do it all or they've got to do it all. You've got to do it jointly, and you've got to have a plan, and it's got to be measurable to show that the benefits of what you're doing. So I think there's a lot of people there up for change and up for innovation, and I think that's only going to grow.
I think that collaboration piece it's come up already today, but it comes up all the time. We can't solve these challenges within each organisation on our own, or we've got to work together with competitors, partners, specialists in the field. Now we've got a couple minutes left before the session closes, so I thought it might be nice to kind of go around, and if you each wanted to just take a minute to just sort of say a couple of sort of closing thoughts about this whole. Let's get everyone really G'd up, excited to go away, be a sustainability hero, to read the report, of course. But maybe if we start with you, Vance, if you kind of start with some of something inspiring about how everyone can make a difference. And
I'm going to struggle to match your excitement there, Amy, on a subject that I love. But I think for me, the insight basically underpinned what I believe, that we're on the right track. I think, we all sit around this table with various different businesses, but we're all on the right track. I think, just to repeat, collaboration is key within the industry. The great work that people like RAP are doing as well, and you guys at Footprint keep prodding us in the right direction. And for me, it is just finding the heroes, making it part of their job role, giving them the chance to do it, recognising them. As the other guys have said, we're now creating clear KPIs around sustainability. 5 years ago, that had never been a part of Green King to have a KPI around about sustainability, and just enjoy the sea of change, because we're on a sea of change. So go with it.
Brilliant, and thank you so much, Vance. Sophie.
Yes, I think for us, it's just about getting it on the agenda, getting it in the meetings, getting it in the weekly huddles. We start every meeting with a safety moment. So why not make those safety moments about sustainability, looking at social value and things like that. And also that sustainability really is in everything we do, and it should be a part of everything we do. So new innovations, new training, everything that we look at, we need to be considering it, and everybody needs to. And we have some amazing examples of where retail managers on site have really kind of led their clients and said, this is something that the consumers are asking for, we're going to put it in, kind of pre-COVID, but sort of reusable deposit schemes, looking at how we can replace things like plastic bags. So we've seen kind of lots of individuals who don't traditionally have sustainability on their job title, in their job descriptions, as those true heroes throughout the organisation. And let's make the space to listen to those people, to recognise that there is space for growth, that there's an opportunity there, and let's take those people along with us as we implement that across the business. So yeah, our closing thoughts is really just that we think sustainability is for everybody, but not just at work, also at home. And I hope people have been entertained by me avoiding the blinding sun in my kitchen this morning. So I've done my best to try and keep my face at least slightly visible. So apologies for that.
Thank you, Sophie, for giving us some insights onto next. So Mick, would you like to tell us some closing thoughts from Compass's perspective?
Well, I'd echo a lot of what Sophie just said. For us, it's all about ownership, and everybody's got to own this. And it's all well and good, the leaders and the enablers at the top coming up with great ideas. We're finding most of our great ideas are coming from our people on the ground. They're working day in, day out in their own environments, and they can see when things are not right or when things could be done better. And a lot of our great ideas are coming from our frontline teams. But also, we're getting drivers now that we've got to remember that we are a food company, but it's not just about food. We've always wanted to measure food waste. Well, because of new people on our team, some of our frontline teams are saying we do more than just food. What about non-food waste? How are we going to manage non-food waste? So we're looking at that. We're going to put some targets in for non-food. What about the clothes I'm wearing? you give me a uniform. How sustainable are those clothes? Our frontline teams are asking those questions. So we've got to really think outside the box, and we've got to look at every aspect of our business. But overarching our message is it's ownership, and we want everybody in our business to own it, and then the collaboration and working throughout the supply chain.
And the great thing is, of course, if everyone's working, we do need to choose priorities, but there's the capacity to address all of those issues in the round. And Emma, a closing comment from you and Nestlé, please.
Yes, support everything that everyone's already said. This is a huge area we need to push on all the different levers. I guess 3 key things from us is really, this is about hearts and minds. We all have a diverse workforce, some motivated by targets, others motivated by their personal why, or their nagging child at home who wants them to do better for the future of their life. So really working on those hearts and minds. The second is giving that space to challenge the status quo, to say, why have we always done it this way? What about doing it differently? Giving that space for new innovative business models, new ways of working can unleash so much potential. And then the third, I think, is really key. We need to celebrate not just the successes, but also the failures. We need to see the failures as learning opportunities, failing fast, failing forward, saying, okay, that didn't work. We gave it a go. What can we do differently next time? We forget that sometimes the failures are even more teachable moments than just the successes. So there'd be the 3 key takeaways for me.
That is a brilliant way to end. So I just want to thank you all so much for your time. Again, thank you to Chris Terry for working with me on the report. He was a brilliant co-author, and to all the amazing people from behind the scenes research, and not just for these research interviews, for the whole of Footprint Intelligence career, because it drew on everything and all the stuff specifically for this report. Please, I must remind you all, there is so much more in here. Just because you've attended, it's not doing, I don't know what's going on. Anyway, the report is got so much more stuff crammed into it. So please read it, share it, post it, tell everybody about it, because even if you're very experienced in sustainability, I'm sure you'll find some more tips as well, and some other ways of framing things and other ideas. And also, knowing what everybody else can do is helpful in framing your thinking too. So please go out there, be our empowered sustainability heroes. We need you, the planet needs you, and it would make me a crazy woman sitting here waving her hands around, getting excited, very happy. So please do that for yourselves and for the planet. And thank you very, very much for joining us today. And until next time, thank you very much.